Another podcast by the Burning Donuts. Known on police record as a brony slash anther artist, the Burning Donut is really earned ring. His dual identity known by anyone who checks out his online galleries. And now, to protect freedom of speech and to produce some kick-ass artwork, rides the Burning Donut. Greetings everyone, this is the Burning Donut reporting as live as possible in recorded format. Welcome to the show, recorded at the beautiful Dog vs. Zombie Studios located in the luxurious land of Kennewick, Washington. Alright. As most people know, I went to Rainfurrest this weekend, and I gotta say it was pretty fun. Yep, okay, that's all I gotta say about that. Okay, no, seriously though, I mean, like Rainfurrest was actually a blast. It was amazing. There were like so many people, so much stuff going on, and it was interesting this year because I'd never gone with a group before. And like there are surprisingly a large amount of furries, or as I prefer to call them, furs, in the Tri-Cities area. So when I heard that there was like a big old group of people going up, I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up, you know? I mean, essentially, this was like one of the cheapest cons I've ever gone to. Normally, I have to take the bus, which alone is like $150, and then staying at a hotel is like another $150. So like right off the bat, it's like at $300. You gotta, all right. Well, I think overall, I probably, as far as transportation and lodging went, I probably barely pushed $80. It was amazing. I mean, yeah, the hotel was kind of, well, all right, it was fucking gross. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I basically paid $40 to stay 5 nights, it was pretty gross. And it's like, honestly, was that a convention? Like the hotel, the sole reason you have the hotel is to sleep and then go back. All right. It was interesting being with a group at a convention because, especially with like a group of people that largely this was like their first con. Not only that, but like this was like the first convention I've ever brought a girlfriend to. I've ever really had a girlfriend to bring to, so it's like I felt like so selfish sometimes because like she's not as used to a messed up sleep pattern as I am. So there were like so many times where like you could tell she was like so dead tired. It was just like and I'm like and you have to explain to people, a lot of times when you go to conventions, you have to explain that you have to be selfish at a con sometimes, you know. If you're tired, you need to go to bed. Of course, I also felt bad because, like, a lot of times it's like, well, you go to bed, I'll just sit here and hang out, and blah, 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 which is really terrible on my part. Another thing is that being with a large group, and like I said, that largely have never been to a con before, trying to do anything was virtually impossible because first you had to tell everyone what wanted to be done, find out who wanted to do it, and it got to the point where the simple task of going to get something to eat ended up taking 2.5 hours, and a lot of times people randomly want to do things when there's a panel you want to do. Well, so, yeah. Okay. Now, so seriously, it took us like 2 hours to go to Denny's, and it was like ridiculous one time. I mean, ultimately, it was great being there actually with people. The problem is there were a lot of friends I wanted to meet up with and stuff, but because like these people were the only ones wanting to do things and they didn't know who I wanted to, it was like, anyway. Other than that, I mean, and seriously, that is like really is a very small part of the overall experience. Uh, there were a lot of like there weren't quite as many like jump out like be like, oh my gosh, that panel is so amazing panels this year. I think the first panel that I attended was for trying to be a professional artist, and actually they didn't describe their panels very well either, because this professional artist panel essentially was talking about if you want to like break out into like the game industry and things like that, which is like not. I mean, it's virtually impossible. It all pretty much trying to do that all pretty much comes down to knowing the right person at the right time and like having the exact style that they happen to be looking for. And like seriously, that's virtually impossible these days. Another panel I attended, I wanted to try to attend because like this panel was in two parts. It was essentially for commissions. The first panel was for people buying commissions, and the second panel was for people selling commissions. Well, I didn't really make the first one, and I was actually quite curious in the type of questions and such that people who buy commissions would want to know, but oh well. I did go to the selling commissions panel, which was actually really impressive. People were there, and like I took notes, but I really, in that kind of like delirious no sleep state that you be in when you go to conventions, I lost the paper that I took the notes on. All kinds of things about like writing terms of service, for commissions, the proper way to communicate with people, how to issue refunds, how to not issue refunds, and in some cases, how to ultimately not have to deal with people who are dicks and douchebags. One interesting thing is I was actually able to get a table at the con. Now, it wasn't necessarily in the dealer's den, but it was in what they call the artist alley, which is like kind of like the amateur grab a table, sell stuff as quick as you can outside the dealer's den while the dealer's den is open type place, which is actually pretty cool. I brought a whole bunch of art cards and stuff, and which didn't really sell as good as I hoped, because it made me so sad. And another thing was like this was actually like the first year I've seen MLP stuff not be popular. It was because like everyone was like, oh great, a brony artist. Ugh. Of all the boards that I had up in the art show for sale, I sold one, which was like the cheapest one I had. Like, I mean, seriously, I don't know what it is about this particular con, but like getting people to part with their money sometimes is really hard. I mean, I understand the economy is bad and everything, but and actually that's really sad, because it like a lot of times when you go to conventions to make money, you honestly like miss out on like part of the conventions, or I don't know if it's like you really miss out, but you don't experience part of it, because a lot of people go there for the sole purpose of buying crap. They're just like, oh my gosh, look at all this like awesome amazing stuff, and like literally, I mean, there were people who spent so much of their money they didn't have gas to get home, and it's like, I kind of felt bad because like I was actually making money, and everyone else was like, man, I'm so broke. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get home. And I know I got this commission coming from like this one person, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it because I gotta get home and I gotta get money. Yeah, all right, that's an obvious exaggeration, sort of. All right. One thing I found interesting is that like, excuse me, is I actually met like a lot of people who've been buying my skateboards, and it's like they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so amazing!" It's like I actually had a fursuiter come up to me and ask for my picture, so it's like, "Oh, okay." One interesting thing is that like I actually had a board that I bought and I was trying to sell, and it was bought by Mike the Microphone. Now he wasn't at the convention. But like, I mean, seriously, like for people who are like into the whole brony music scene, Mike the Microphone is like fucking amazing. I mean, he's awesome. He's got like so much, and like honestly, he was like one of the first people to actually buy one of my boards. So like, we kind of like have this like fanboyishness that kind of bounces back and forth, and it's like, oh my gosh, your music is great. Oh my gosh, your art is great. Anyway, yeah. Okay. And like he found out that I had a board that wasn't terribly expensive, and actually actually called up a friend to have them buy it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. Now I did okay at the con. It was I've done better, ironically, without a table before, But I don't know what it was. I think sometimes it's just the rainforest itself. Um, trying to like find people who have money and are willing to part with it for your artwork and stuff. It's kind of hard, and it's like I had all these like pre-made art cards and stuff, and no one wanted to buy them. Primarily because most of them were My Little Pony oriented, so they were like, oh great, a brony, oh boy. So yeah, they didn't sell all that great. I sold badges, I sold commissions, I sold the drawings, sketches. I should have sold a lot more, but yeah, it's all good. The thing that sucks is that the moment I come back, I ended up having to pay rent, so all the profits I had from the con, gone. Yeah, it works out that way sometimes. Like things that are going on right now. I've been trying to give myself a couple days to kind of decompress from the con, which I know is like absolutely a ridiculous statement, but one thing that has happened recently that is like incredibly annoying. I don't know who out there owns an older vehicle, but like a lot of times if you have like a vehicle that has a carburetor, I I don't know how many people honestly even still drive things with carburetors anymore, but mine, I came home and I had to reset it because with the seasons changing and everything, essentially like I had to like get in and like readjust the carburetor so that like for cold air and stuff. Now the problem is I don't know what happened when I did that, but somehow it is just pouring out oil and I can't find out where it's from. And I mean, my hope is that I simply knocked a thing loose and bumped something loose when I was because it's a van and things are not easy to get to in a van. My hope is that I just knocked like the tube that the oil gets poured into or something loose. But I don't really think that's the case because there was a lot of oil, and the thing that sucks is I don't have money to buy a new vehicle, and supposing I can even find out what the problem is with this one, I don't even know if I have the money to fix it. So, yeah. Isn't life great? Alright. Now, moving on. I see I'm probably getting pretty close to the 15-minute mark. Again, I'm trying to find a new place to live. If anyone's looking for a roommate or anything, I don't have much of an income. The job market is incredibly scarce right now. Supposedly everyone's like, oh, well, go here, they're hiring, go here. It's like no, they're hiring. And I know this is going to sound really racist, but it's like, no, they're hiring Mexicans. Dodge. I had to pause because I'm dodging bricks being thrown at me. But like seriously, that is kind of like how the businesses up here work. Is they hire the Hispanic people who they can snooker out of like cheaper wages and stuff. So I mean, seriously, it's like I wouldn't mind working for those really low wages. I seriously wouldn't. I kind of sort of need a job. One possibility is I did this last year. Is I kind of worked for the Salvation Army through Labor Ready, and essentially, you know, those like annoying guys with the bells who are all like "Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." Yeah. I was that guy for about 3 months. But I mean, seriously, that was not a bad job. It paid reasonably well. I got decent hours at it, and it wasn't like, you know, back-breaking work or anything, but, you know, it was pretty cool. You got to interact with people, you got to say hi, you know, and as long as you're sitting there, like, doing your job and not being like a total douchebag, it's all cool. It's all good. Alright. I guess this is probably nearing the end of the show. I'll try to do more next time. Just a quick, just saying what's going on. Letting everyone know I got back from Rainfurrest, had a good time. I can't wait for next year. I don't know the only convention that's like even close as far as like making future plans for is possibly the Further Confusion, and again, I don't have plans for that yet. But I'll start working on it and see if it can even work out. Like I said, in my situation right now, pretty much, it's like I need to find a new place to live. I need to find some way to sell artwork. I need to find some way to get a job. And it's like, seriously, I just cannot intake money fast enough. It's like as soon as I get it in, it has to go out. Anyway. That's all for now. I guess I'll see you guys later on the flip side. And donut out.